Hey, it's Audicy Visuals back with an interview with Esperanzita from Santa Maria. Where does your artist name come from and what does it mean?
Esperanzita is actually a derivative of my middle name, which is Esperanza, and it means hope in Spanish. My dad actually wanted to give me that as like my first name, so when I was like choosing a rap name, I was like, Esperanzita is the perfect. Not only does it represent my culture and my roots, but it represents like the connection that I have with my dad as well.
Nice. When did you start rapping and how did you get started?
I actually started rapping in 2018, and I didn't realize that I could rap until I started like freestyling at parties with my friends. So it was like those drunk moments, you know. But I actually went through a phase where like I went through postpartum depression after I had my son, and the only way that I could cope was like writing poetry. And I cut off all my friends, so the only interaction that I had was on Snapchat. So I would post like these little verses on Snapchat, and my friends on there would be the ones to like encourage me to like do shit. And then I finally sat down one time and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna write a song. And then ever since then I've just been trying to write.
Only a couple years, man. You told me that a lot of your fans are from Chile. How did you gain a fan base in another country?
Well, it's really more like a community, I would say, because a lot of the people that I connect with in that country are artists themselves. So and then like with everything going on in their country right now, like I don't know if you're aware of like all the protests and the unrest that's happening, because they're just like they're not content with the way that they're living, and the government isn't really doing anything to help them. So a lot of the shit that I rap about is like, you know, bringing attention to like inequality and bringing attention to like real issues that resonate with people like them. So I feel like that was like a really good way to communicate with them and to like connect with them. It's more a sense of community. I wouldn't say they're like my fans, but definitely a sense of community, because like just as much as they support me, I support them.
That's pretty awesome. How do you think they discovered you?
Well, I know for a fact it was through hashtags. If most of the ones that I know from Chile, they're all very conscious rappers. They're all so it's so easy to find like other conscious rappers through that hashtag because it's like not really used as much. And not only that, I actually invested in some of the Instagram ads. I put like $5 here and there on some of my freestyles, and I noticed that the more that the areas that were more receptive to my craft are areas like in Mexico and Chile and Argentina. So yeah, Instagram ads are the way to go if you want to connect with people.
So now when you do ads, do you put them in that area on purpose, in those areas?
Sometimes I'm starting to branch out a little bit. I'm starting to try to use the automatic feature so that Instagram could kind of cater my stuff to people that haven't heard me already. After a while, I noticed that if I started targeting them in those areas, it was like the same people that were reacting. Which I don't think it's a waste of money, but like it's definitely better to put your money somewhere else.
Absolutely. You hopped on my quarantine rap battle and I still have people voting for you months later. How does it feel to have such a loyal fan base, and how did you establish a relationship like that with them?
So it's kind of like the same thing with like, you know, the community that I have with people from Chile. It's all about support for me. Like I validate anyone posting their poetry on social media just as much as I validate the person putting out music videos every day. You know what I mean? So like in terms of personal expression and just being able to channel that creativity into things that you love, I strongly support. So I feel like a lot of the people reciprocate that energy to me. So it's more of a community,
Friendship,
like
you said, yeah.
Exactly.
What does success look like for you as an artist?
Success would be being able to sustain myself independently with any revenue that I'm making off of whatever I put out into the universe. Like my ultimate goal is to be able to open doors to open more doors. Like I want to be able to help people that otherwise wouldn't be helped because people are not putting their energy into it. So like my ultimate goal within the next 10 years is I want to start a nonprofit organization that helps establish legal representation for immigrants. Because like coming from a family, I grew up with this constant fear of having my parents taken away from me. And like with everything going on right now, I just feel like there's so much that we can do as a younger generation to bring attention to these issues. And so ultimately, success as an artist to me is being able to fund that energy. So that's all I want from this.
So success for you is helping other people.
Yeah.
Amazing. I feel like a lot of your music has depth and a message. What drives you to make music?
A lot of it is very introspective. I personally repressed a lot of my trauma for a long time of my life, and then when I finally got to the lowest point, I found an outlet that I was, good at, and so I just ran with it. And so what drives me is just being able to express myself and being able to help others heal while I'm healing through my own craft as well. I would say that's the biggest driving factor.
Like an emotional outlet for you and others.
Yeah.
There's so many men in this industry and very few women. Why do you think that is? Do you feel like you are treated different because you are a woman? And do you have any advice for the young women coming up in the industry?
I think this question is really complicated because if you look at the history of women in general, like look at the history of our country. This country was founded by men, for men, and it wasn't until like 70 years later that women started getting the rights, or started gathering so that they could get rights. And it wasn't until like 120 years later until the women like voted for the first time ever. So historically, women have never had they've never had access to the same platforms that men do. They've always been the decision makers, and I feel like something like this, you can't see change overnight. And it is a work in progress, and women are starting to be go into this industry a lot more. But then apart from that, you still have other obstacles like the objectification of women. So women, in order for you to be successful in this industry, it's a common narrative for you to have to be sexualized, for you to have to show off more than just your skill. There's such a scarce amount of women in this industry that the women that are in this industry make it such a competitive environment to thrive. So there's a lot of factors that go into it. I would say if I had any piece of advice for anyone, but especially women in this industry, is just make sure you have a strong character. Because in order for you to be able to succeed, you have to be able to get what you want. You have to ask for it. You have to work for it. It doesn't matter if you're a guy or a female. If people are gonna undermine you regardless, because that's just what it is. It's as much as you don't want it to be a competition, it's always gonna feel like it. So you just have to remain strong and just go get it.
You got to prove yourself, whether you're a man or a woman.
Exactly.
I saw that you had a project delayed due to COVID. Do you know when the video will be available?
It's actually going to drop on Saturday, June 20th, which is my mom's birthday. It's the new moon, so a lot of energy put into that. As far as other projects, I'm hoping that I don't deal with the delays that I had to deal with distributing this song. It was just because I'm a new artist and distributing for the first time, and then COVID-19, they didn't really have all the resources to be able to get everyone's tracks out as fast as possible. So if you look at the release date, it was supposed to be released on May 30th, but it wasn't released until a couple days ago. So I'm hoping to drop more stuff this summer. I have an album that I actually am working on.
Is there a name for the album?
Esperanzita Rising.
Okay. Do you know when that'd be ready?
I don't know when. It's funny because the music video is dropping on the date that I wanted to drop the album on. So I don't know yet. I would say for sure by the end of July.
So Dale will be ready Friday on YouTube.
Saturday. Yes.
Saturday on YouTube.
Yes.
Y'all make sure you guys check that out. It's pretty dope. Anything else you want to tell them?
No, just I don't know. Embrace the cultura here in Santa Maria and the Central Coast. It's so many dope ass artists that are putting on for the coast, and I really respect that. I respect every type of creative out here. So
the last two people I interviewed said we need unity, and the other said respect. What do you think? What would you add to that, to those two words, to succeed?
Unity, respect. I would say those are probably the biggest ones. It's really important to come together as a community and support not only your creatives, but the cultura. It's really important. And here in these areas, minorities are the majority, except for certain places where you have a lot of conservatism and like affluent neighborhoods and stuff. So I think it's really important to focus on the real issues more than anything. It's not like, I feel like there's a superficiality when it comes to artistry that some people don't really overcome, and I feel like you can't really get anywhere with that superficiality. So just make sure your motives aren't completely selfish.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. That was Esperanzita. Check her out on YouTube on Saturday. I'll see y'all soon.